has been almost impossible to catch up with this fresh wave of resignations. So many names, not only resigning from the government, Mims Davies resigning as a DWP Employment Minister, Anna Firth submits a letter of no confidence. She was just recently won that by-election in Southend, of course, for the Conservatives. We've had a report that Michael Gove has gone to see Boris this morning, sending him a message saying that the gig is up. And, of course, that joint resignation by 5 ministers, Kenny Badenoch, Neil O'Brien, Alex Burghardt, Lee Rowley and Julia Lopez, all resigning in one go. It's quite astonishing to see the scale and the speed of what has happened just in the last half an hour. But as you rightly say, I'm standing here with Christine Jardine, the Liberal Democrat MP for Edinburgh West, and I was about to say we haven't really seen anything like this in quite some time, but it's only 3 years ago that this was happening to Theresa May.
This didn't happen to Theresa May. I don't think this has ever happened to a Prime Minister, certainly not that I know of in British history, where practically their whole cabinet has resigned and refused to work with them. This is unprecedented, but the disappointment is that it has taken so long. That Sajid Javid rightly spoke about integrity in his statement, but if they appreciated that the Prime Minister had this lack of integrity, why has it taken so long? Why have they allowed the country to get into this situation?
Is it the case that there is something particularly different with regard to what has taken place with regard to sexual assault allegations? That this is something of a different order, a different magnitude to whether or not Boris Johnson had a glass of wine with a group of people he was working with? That almost seems more trivial than the weighty matter that took place over this weekend.
Let's not trivialise everything else that has happened. All of that was serious and none of it was acceptable. But what has happened over the weekend, what we have heard about this specific set of circumstances and allegations, is completely and utterly unacceptable. As you say, it is on a slightly different plane, but let's not trivialise everything else. Let's not trivialise the PPE contracts that went astray, the cronyism that we've had in this government. It's enmeshed in sleaze, everything they've done for the last 2 years. There's been so much of it. And, there are ministers in that government that I respect, and I don't know how they have kept going for this length of time. But what has happened over the past week has been completely and utterly unacceptable. And we see that reflected in the number of ministers who have just said today, no, enough. We do not want any more to do with this. But the country does need change.
We're hearing a lot about internal Conservative Party psychodrama today. But as a Member of Parliament sitting on the opposition benches, what are your thoughts about what happens next? Is it time for a vote of confidence across the whole House, not just within the Conservative Party?
Well, we need change. We need a change of direction. This government has been incapable of providing the leadership that the country needs. Boris Johnson hasn't provided the leadership. We need a Prime Minister that we can have confidence in. It's time to change. It's time to change direction. And if this government can't do it, then they should go. They should all go.